So one of the things I've been really interested in doing in this first year here is listening. And listening to people who have been here for a year, 5 years, 50 years. Tell me about what it is about this place, this church, that people treasure. Parishes have all kinds of stories that they tell themselves about who they are. And we've gathered some folks together during this season of stewardship to hear 6 voices at least. I think you can hear in what they have to say and share where their heart is and why they treasure this place so much. So Vanna, one of the things about you that's amazing to me is how large your heart is. So because you are so large-hearted for others, Vanna, I wonder what your hope is for people who come to St. Mary's. Because I have the sense you're probably thinking about other people. What is your hope for people who come to our church?
I would think that people might be drawn to St. Mary's the way my husband and I were at first when we first moved here about 17 years ago, and we were drawn by the beauty and the tranquility of St. Mary's, and it's just lovely. But it feels like home. It feels like family. All you clergy, staff, everyone, the other parishioners, and we've gotten some wonderful friends. We had the newcomer dinner not long ago, and that was wonderful. And we got to meet some new young people. So I just love it. And you know, in the case of my husband and myself, being a little bit older, we have a little bit more time, and it's really nice to be able to do some of the things we didn't have time to do before. And we just feel that the longer we've been here and the more that we've given to St. Mary's, the more actually that we've received. It really is wonderful. It feels like home. And I just hope that for anyone that comes, I would hope that they would give it a try. Try it on like you do clothes. See how it feels. And I just would hope that everyone feels as blessed as we do, and that warmth and welcome feeling that we have.
You and Georgia met here at St. Mary's when you all were young. Isn't that right?
That's right. You know, that was, how many years ago was 1951, and that's a lot. And of course, most of this wasn't here then, just this little church where we sit right now. I'm not sure what kind of parish house we had or anything like that. I don't really remember.
Well, what's it like being back?
Well, it's certainly very nice.
So, what do you see right now? What is it that moves you, that makes you glad about St. Mary's right now?
Well, our attraction here is family. We have family. We had, when we sold our house and moved closer, is kind of when we ceased to resist the temptation to not come. And but 2 of our children, 4 of our grandchildren, my sister, George's sister, their children and their grandchildren, all here. And I have 6 or 8 cousins that are here. And so it was just it was a family attraction, and we are certainly glad to be here.
So it really is, huh?
It really is.
Yes,
it really is. There's no other church in town that has this concentration of our family. That's for sure.
So is that what it means when you say, if you were to say, this is where my heart is?
Absolutely.
It's about those deep connections.
That's right, yes. That service feels like home, for sure. It is home, yeah.
So Olivia, I'm really interested in what is it about your church? What is it about St. Mary's that's special to you?
What's special about St. Mary's is that we can discover new things every day, and that we see God in Jesus and learn what it's really like to be in our own part in life.
Wow. What are some new things you discovered?
So the things that we can discover is that that being kind can show others that we can love more inside ourselves.
Oh gosh. That's something you learned here?
Mm-hmm.
But that's something that you live in the rest of your life when you're not here?
Mm-hmm.
So, there are about 8,000 things that are great about here. But what I'm particularly interested in is, do you remember the sort of retreat day for the outreach committee? I was so interested in the way I saw you listening and then your insights. And so what I'm so interested in from where you sit about outreach, but maybe other things too, is just what is your hope for St. Mary's? What do you see? That's what I find myself interested in.
So if I go back to the question and take what you're saying, like what is my hope? My hope would be that we find a number of ways to have the opportunity to connect beyond the walls of this church with the community at large, with whether it's Richmond, Goochland, anywhere in God's world that makes sense for us. And that through that, we are finding ways to really pull all of our spiritual gifts together and give them and share them with others. And that would be my hope. If I think about it from the perspective of a parent, my hope would be that my children see that through others and also experience it so that they learn to grow and share and give back and feel all the good things that come from that and know that at the end of the day it's all in God's grace and we're all part of His world.
So, how long have you been going to church here, do you think?
I don't know, a long time.
Since you were little?
Third, fourth, fifth grade maybe.
Yeah. What is it about this place is where your heart is?
I just think going here for a majority of my life and being involved in so many different things here, like being an acolyte, just really makes me a part of the church instead of just attending the church, I'm a part of it.
So Jack, recently you were here for a 2-hour rehearsal for the diocesan ordinations, and then the next day you were here serving as an acolyte for the 2-hour service, at least 2 hours. And then the next day you were back here for church. But I wondered what that was like for you. That's a lot of church,
It's
Jack.
a lot of church. It was fascinating to see a service that normally a lot of people don't get to see, and attending so many of the main masses at 11 and some of the services at 9.
Right.
It is a very different service, but to see the emotion between the bishops getting ordained and between their families, it was just fascinating overall to see.
And you were a part of it. I mean, that's what it looked like to me.
Yes. I just felt like I had to. I mean, it was something that I think God said I had to do, and that I felt like I had to do. And attending church the next morning, just continuing that line of well, I may as well go again, because why not?
In this season of stewardship, what we're listening to is stories from parishioners about what it is that leads each of us to say, this is where my heart is in this parish. And when we were thinking about folks whose stories we really wanted to hear, we were like, oh, we got to hear from Sam. Because you seem to be
I'm humbled.
filled up. At any given moment, you're full. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
And I just wondered,
What drives that?
well, what is that?
Yeah, what is that? It's a lot of things, David, but the one thing that it most certainly is a kind of a philosophy that I have about religion and life and thoughts about God. My mind and my body are constantly trying to figure out what God is, trying to understand my place. But my heart never has that problem. It can see God instantly. God is love, and therefore I find God here. Of course, I find God everywhere, but here is a special place because these are all the people like me who are searching for that. So we brought our daughter here. This was 30 years ago or so, and the first Sunday here, we meet the Burnhams as we were leaving, and what they said to me was unbelievable. They talked to us about why we were there, and then they said to us very directly, welcome home. That hit here. Sure, it registered here, but it hit here. There was no question in my mind, that's where we belong. And my wife said, we got in the car, and I said, I think our journey's over. And she said, yeah, that's where we're going to go to church. So to take it one step further, you know, it's love and the heart are usually associated together. That's the way we look at it. They gave us a home. We put our heart in it, and it's grown ever since. So that's a really kind of simple way of looking at what a few words like "welcome home" can do to someone who's looking for something as wonderful as this is.
That's right. Thank you, Sam. So, of course, what's so wonderful is this is just a few voices out of so many here at St. Mary's who treasure this place. And we all have our own story to tell about that. We're about halfway through our season of stewardship here at St. Mary's, and so many have already responded to say, here is where my heart is. I hope you will say your prayers, count your blessings, and join us. God bless you.